Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another discussion video. This time, me and Kyle Entertainment are going to be talking about Sherlock Season 1, the British BBC TV series, not the American one, which I think is called something else, not the movies, which are called something, probably called Sherlock or something. For reference, I have seen all of Sherlock. I watched Season 1 and 2 together, because they'd already been released, and then I watched Season 3 and 4 as they were airing week to week. And I'm joined by Kyle, who I guess you can give your background on Sherlock.
EliteAri, I thought we were talking about Doctor Who today. What are you talking about?
We're absolutely not, and I continue to not understand.
This is such an inside joke that
Yeah.
I've already made 3 times to the people that would even potentially find it funny. That we're being a bit redundant here at the beginning of our great Sherlock discussion series. That will go many episodes, I'm certain. EliteAri, I'm an expert in Sherlock Holmes, of course. I've read all of the novels. I've seen all of the This is actually a rewatch for me too. Did you know that?
You're going to confuse anyone listening to this.
You know what happened to EliteAri? I do have one piece of Sherlock Holmes history.
Okay.
And that I think a contemporaneous show to this was a show called Elementary, which was a Sherlock Holmes show. But Watson was a sexy Asian lady. The sexy Asian lady from Kill Bill. She's a very famous actress. I forget her name, EliteAri.
Okay.
And I watched probably like a season of that, I think, when I was like 10 with my mother. Because we used to watch a bunch of TV shows together, like Hawaii Five-0, the new version. The Following or whatever, the one with the knife cult, that one was crazy. That has Kevin Bacon in it. That's a famous actor. Under the Dome, EliteAri, what a television show. You love that?
Yep.
So all these weird... Revenge, the greatest television show of all time, EliteAri. So all these, like, from 2008 to about 2015, maybe, I was watching a bunch of these weird shows.
But
Elementary was okay, I remember.
You haven't seen any
but
episodes
not Sherlock, because I saw... Yes, EliteAri, they got that bit. Good. Now... I remember seeing ads for it, I think, at the time. And I remember being like, oh, that's like the Sherlock show we don't watch, so that show sucks and is lame. This one's way cooler. Though I don't really remember nearly anything from the show. I know the basics of Sherlock Holmes from the outset, EliteAri. I know that there's a guy called Moriarty, who was also a sexy girl in Elementary. God, what a better show. It was like a blonde girl. Now, I don't know if he was fucking Watson in that show, EliteAri, but that had to have been where we were going with this, Okay. They're fucking in this one too, EliteAri. They're big gay guys. It's the joke.
Okay. I don't know if it's a joke, but we'll see.
That's my history with Sherlock Holmes, EliteAri. So I know it. So there was a subversion in episode 1 that was very clever that I caught on to because I know the great Sherlock Holmes. Now I think Sherlock Holmes is like a bunch of novels from like the 1800s, EliteAri.
You know more than me. Yes, that's my understanding too. They're novels. I know that they're old. I don't know.
Sherlock Holmes. And that's my history, EliteAri. Also, I've seen I know that this... I remember because I was big into the MCU until like Age of Ultron, EliteAri. Then I fell off. Why is Yahoo my search engine right now, EliteAri? And all that time, they used to speculate on whether or not there was going to be a Doctor Strange movie coming up soon and who Doctor Strange was going to be. And they always said it was going to be Benedict Cumberbatch from the hit TV series Sherlock. Because a lot of those weird, nerdy Marvel shows, before we started complaining about woke stuff, EliteAri, they would all cover Doctor Who, Sherlock, and Marvel stuff. That was like their thing. Like Emergency, whatever that guy's name is.
Yep.
Anyway.
Okay.
He had a few Under the Dome videos.
Yes. So to give some context for Sherlock, so this is a show that started in 2010, so a very long time ago,
True.
Which coincidentally lines up with Doctor Who Series 5, okay, which also came out in 2010. And both of these shows, Series 5 of Doctor Who onward, and then Sherlock TV show, are both created and not created, I guess, but showrunners are Stephen Moffat for both all of Sherlock and Series 5, 6, and 7, and 8, and 9, and 10 of Doctor Who. And alongside him on Sherlock is Mark Gatiss, who has also written like a bunch of episodes of Doctor Who. So there is a lot of overlap between these two shows in terms of the people behind them.
So we've got the Moffat dick in your mouth and the Gatiss guy. This is genius, EliteAri.
Yes. Stephen Moffat famously, probably the most famous writer in Doctor Who, I guess. Like, he makes all the episodes that people love, I guess. He became a showrunner eventually. And here he is working on Sherlock, leading both of these shows at the same time. Pretty crazy, but yep. That's all the context I have for this, okay?
EliteAri, I found out some facts.
Well, one more thing, just for background for this.
Go ahead.
So Stephen Moffat wrote the first episode of this season, and then Mark Gatiss wrote the finale episode of this season. So yeah, just a little context. But yeah, go ahead. What's your fact?
The first Sherlock Holmes book came out in 1887, EliteAri, and the last one came out in 1927. Those are 40.
Wow.
That's a 40-year run.
Yeah, true. Just like
And the
this
guy
show.
that wrote him is a Sir Arthur Conan Doyle.
Yep.
So he was so famous that they made him a Sir.
All right, excellent. So, with all that useless, boring stuff out of the way, with context, which we don't need, let's talk about this show. I guess first I can say what I think about it, which is that obviously I love the show. The reason why we're watching this is twofold. One is that I was like watching scenes from Sherlock, and I was like, man, I really want to make a video about this, but I want the context of everything that happens up to this point. We haven't got to that episode yet. And then secondly, I was like, oh, you know what? It'd be very interesting to see what Kyle thinks about this, because it's an interesting show. It's pretty short, and it's you know what? It's very different from anything else we've covered. So I think it's really great. But Kyle,
EliteAri did agree to about 25% of Naruto in exchange for only one season of this, so that's pretty cool. You can look forward to that going into the future. Now, EliteAri. Also, EliteAri didn't tell me that every episode was an hour and a half, so that's not cool. EliteAri, he misled me. No.
All right.
He concedes. Am I supposed to say what I think about the show?
Yeah, I want to know. It's your overall thoughts. Go ahead. Yeah. What do you think?
Oh my goodness! Wait, you didn't even speculate? Make my ego about what I would think.
I can speculate. What I think about this show is that season 1 of the show specifically, I feel like you're probably just not going to like it. That's my guess. Because there's, I don't know. I can't imagine that you would like it, but maybe you did. Let me know.
EliteAri, this was a nice little show. You know, it was pretty good. It was okay.
Okay, that's good to hear. I think the most interesting thing will be what you think of next season compared to this one. Which is going to be so.
That's true. EliteAri keeps hyping up the first episode of this one. Whenever he was pitching this as a thing we could do, he says, "Oh, but we have to do at least the first 4 episodes." And here we are sitting here only doing 3 episodes. So, you know, maybe that was just another one of his little tactics to make me do a whole another season. Because obviously, I'm not just going to watch 1 episode. That would be
no. You know what?
Silly.
I definitely, after finishing this season, I do want to watch all of the next season. Because it is markedly different from this one. Not markedly in terms of like, you'll see when we watch it. I think it is notably different from this, but yeah.
I did see because I read the Wikipedia page a little bit, and I did see that like the first episode came out and it did way better than they were expecting. So they immediately were like, oh, we can get to do season 2. And then they said, we're going to do all the most famous Sherlock stories in season 2. So apparently these are all the pissy fake stories, EliteAri, and we're going to get all the real cool ones in season 2. So I'm just so excited for all of that. I had something else general to say, EliteAri, but I think I forgot it. What were you saying just before, you know?
That season 2 is different, but what can we even talk about at this point? Like,
now I know that there's there's like a 2010 to 2012, so you know that's a long time between these seasons. Also, only 3 episodes. Also, EliteAri, I remembered what I was gonna say. I torrented all the seasons, EliteAri. So you know, what am I just gonna waste the great torrent I did and not watch them? We'll have to see. And what? I can't even put them on my media checklist if I don't do all of them? My goodness gracious me. Now, none of these are to do with my interest in the show driving me forward, so perhaps that's not the best motivator, EliteAri. Maybe we're going in poorly. But anyway, EliteAri, do you want to know my one note that isn't pertaining to a specific episode?
Sure, go ahead.
It says, interesting camera/framing/cinematography/editing quirks. True.
You know what? I do agree with that. That is the one thing, especially back in the day, back in 2010, where I think, like, for me in my mind, I don't know how accurate this is, but for me as a Redditor and people who was like watching TV shows as a kid and growing up, for me, Mr. Robot was the first show where I'm like, man, this is like they're like making really crazy shows on like a TV budget, where it like looks really good and cinematic and everything. The directing's interesting. However, this, I don't know, when did Mr.
Ever heard of The Sopranos, you fucking loser?
Anyway, I would be surprised if that was anywhere similar to Mr. Robot, but I guess we'll see. But that was the first thing where I'm like, man, this is like kind of crazy. This is a period before that by a significant amount of time, by like 5 years, where TV was like kind of a very different space, at least in my experience as a kid watching like a bunch of different TV shows. And this is much higher quality, like cinematography and everything you're talking about, compared to at least what I was familiar with at the time. Which is interesting, because it is like, I don't know, it's just the Sherlock TV show with 3 episodes. But Yeah, I kind of agree with, like, it does a bunch of stuff that is more common these days. For instance, the most common thing is like the using when you have text on screen, like if someone is texting, or you have like different meta, like different textual elements that,
True,
like, that was not a very
when he
common
figures
thing.
out a clue EliteAri.
Yeah, exactly. And even like before he figures out the clue, like just seeing all the stuff and like what's going to be relevant, what's not, and that's a thing that I hadn't seen until the show, which is obviously very common these days. Like it's even in Marvel shows and stuff these days. So that's interesting. What else is there? But yeah, with the like directing and stuff, I think it is really well directed. Some of my favorite directed episodes of like any TV shows are in Sherlock coming up.
And I said interesting, not good, you know?
Yeah, well, I said good. But yeah. What can I say? What else is there to say?
Good.
What do you think of like the intro? There's like an OP to every episode, which is like the same thing every time. Obviously that's in my head because I've seen it a million times. But any thoughts on that?
Oh yes, I remember it now because this is one of the interesting things is the it's like the slightly blurred out establishing shots where the top and bottom are blurred out a little bit. Because for a second there I was like, what is EliteAri talking about intro? Did I already forget? But now I remember, and it's just an establishing shot of London.
Yep, tilt shift photography, I think. Is that what they call it?
It's kind of a terrible place to start, huh?
Who cares? So, yeah.
Are we going to talk about it episode by episode or generally? I guess we probably will end up doing it.
That's true.
I will say the other thing that sort of sits with me after watching all 3 episodes. Now, I like finished the last episode like at the beginning of yesterday, I think. So I finished way before EliteAri, so I forgot everything. And I watched them all like right in a row, EliteAri. So you know that's pretty cool. I didn't watch any of them in one sitting though, EliteAri. A little bit of here, a little bit of there.
They're pretty long.
Though, you know, once you get past like the 30-minute mark, I probably watched them all in one sitting from there. I think, I don't know, this isn't a good place to start either. The thing that's lasted with me is sort of the weird, is tone the right word? There was like a Nosferatu guy in episode 3, and it was very weird, EliteAri.
Yeah, that is true.
I don't know why.
You know what? Just to say,
was like,
it is crazy. And also, I don't remember much about season 1 at all. Now that guy at the end though, I did remember. And I was like, when is he showing up? I thought it would be in the second one with like the Chinese mafia or whatever. But no, he just showed up in the third one. I was like, what is this? It was kind of cool. I liked it. I was like, this is an interesting, like, weird scene. Like, it's goofy and but it was strange.
Yeah, it was very out of nowhere. It didn't feel like it fit at all. Because at first they did like the Nosferatu shot where it was the shadow shot. And I was like, oh, well, that's kind of cute. But then he was literally like a 9-foot tall, big albino man. And it's like, okay, how does he walk around the city and nobody notices? This is like, I didn't think we were fighting monsters.
He's in the underground.
He was underground, but he has to get to the underground somehow. Like he has to walk the streets.
No one looks
eventually.
at him. He's homeless. They look away. They're like, oh, we don't want to look at the homeless person.
But he's 9 foot tall and looks like a monster.
Yeah, they just think, oh, homeless people are a bit strange,
I'm pretty sure he's not
they?
human.
That's just a commentary on
the whole time.
people's
perception. Doctor Who isn't a Sherlock show, apparently.
Yeah, true.
But that was weird.
It was.
Oh, this was my more general point, is that it did remind me a bit of the TV show Revenge that I mentioned a bit earlier. And this kind of goes back into the fact that like Sherlock is like a ninja too. And like I think the opening shot of episode 2 is him like fighting a dude dressed in like Middle Eastern garb or something.
Yep.
And then they fight, because this was the same thing in Revenge where it has like very serious moments, and I feel like I want it to be more serious, but then sometimes like the lead girl in Revenge, which Revenge is conceded as like her father was made in to be a fake terrorist or whatever by this rich family who was actually doing the terrorist stuff, but to cover it up they took, and he used to be their neighbor or something or whatever. She wants revenge on this family, so she's infiltrating with a secret identity. She starts dating the son and she wants to take it all apart from the inside, right? Whatever. Okay. But EliteAri, at some point, like 10 episodes in, it's revealed that she is a literal ninja. Now I know what you're thinking, EliteAri. Okay. Obviously she can fight because there's cool fight scenes in this and stuff, but no, she literally went to like an Asian country and has an Asian sensei, and she was trained to be a ninja, and she has like the ninja outfit on, and it's like, this is the goofiest thing I've ever seen in my life. And this show that is very drama focused, not in the sense of like drama as in like, oh wow, Shakespeare drama, but in like relationship sort of very poppy sort of, probably for the women, young women type drama. I felt like this might be an era where this was sort of the thing to do on TV when it wasn't explicitly serious.
The interesting thing is that I feel like this is probably from the novels. This feels like a very novel thing to have like some Gollum-looking guy, like
perhaps.
But I don't know enough to know. But it feels like it could be easily.
Yeah, that's true. It's also like the I don't know. It does, especially this season, does feel very much of its era in a sense, which is probably a good thing. I think it is like nostalgic and cool. But like how the characters interact, the weird sort of now EliteAri, cover your ears. The weird sort of like liberal-esque politics, like before the modern era, is very interesting. And it's also like there's also the over looming thing of like that one H Bomber Guy video that I'm pretty sure I didn't watch EliteAri, but I'm so curious now if a lot of that video is political, and it's like, well, of course the white Sherlock man beats up the Middle Eastern guy here, and then he takes apart the slightly racist seeming Chinese mafia, and then there's like a bunch of other little things. I don't remember if I wrote them all down, but that would be so funny if that's what most of that video is.
It might be. It's not. Yeah, for context, I also haven't seen that video. I watched the beginning of it and thought this is not good, but like not good in like the Mueller sense, I guess, where I was like, oh, they're like kind of using objective criticism and
yeah, it is very much like an older video. Because that video is like very popular. Like I feel like in 2015 or something. It probably came out like 2018 or something. But you know, sometimes my memory be speaking. So that sort of goofiness, it was kind of charming. I don't know when it's like the police procedural stuff, it feels like it clashes a little bit with that.
These are very interesting points, and I'm curious what you'll think in future seasons.
Yeah. Because the fact that like you remembered that guy, but he doesn't. My intuition from what EliteAri was sort of putting down a little while ago was that maybe stuff like that doesn't really happen again in the future, but maybe not. Who knows? Maybe I'm completely wrong, EliteAri.
Maybe every episode.
And I'll caveat here so I don't look like a fool.
Yeah. Well, I am curious. What did you think about the episode breakdown, where it's like each one is kind of like an individual mystery, or like is very self-contained, where there's like a little overlap with the Moriarty thing, but it's like very much like episode 1 is this thing, and episode is this. And what do you think about that?
Well, knowing that they're all like separate novels, it kind of I guess I assumed that going in. Like it's a case, it's like a mystery of the week type thing, which it kind of is. Though I feel like usually when I go into something, like I feel like most people have this where it's like an episodic yuck. True. But then when usually when you're watching it, you're like, oh, this is fine. It doesn't really matter. It's just sort of like a bad motivator, I think. I still got like 7 episodes of Cowboy Bebop I got to rewatch to talk about with Bacon EliteAri. And you're telling me I'm going to watch a whole episode about Spike trying to get his ship fixed next? Boring. Anyway.
It is, like, these are long episodes. To me, they went by pretty quickly. Now, maybe it's because I'm revisiting, like, an old nostalgic thing that I like a lot, but it went by very quickly. It is also, one thing I didn't mention about, like, the context of the show in 2010, I don't think an hour and a half long episodes were, like, a thing. Like, I know these days there's a lot of shows, like, even, like, things like Game of Thrones, like, there'll be, like, big, like, HBO shows that have, like, long runtimes, but I don't think back then there was anything like this, which is kind of unique.
No, because some shows, and I know Mad Men for season 5, which would have been 2012. I know that like it was like a 2-parter was like the first episode, even though when you go back and watch it now, it is separated into 2 episodes. So and I'm pretty sure I remember like Revenge doing that for its like season premieres too, where it would be like 2 episodes, but it was never like an hour and a half or an hour 45 minutes singular episode. So seems a little weird.
I think one other
out of place.
One other thing I know because of me watching seasons 3 and 4 live, at least I can speak for those 2 seasons. They would come out not like once a week, but it was like once every like 3 days or something. It had an interesting release schedule like that, where it's like, yeah, we're doing it here and here and here. And I think one of the seasons was around like Boxing Day, I think, where it was like they had one on Christmas, one on like Boxing Day, one on like New Year's or something. It was like a weird thing like that. And I think the episodes might have been related tangentially to like something like that. Yeah, it is interesting, the release schedule for sure. This was a very popular show as well. Like in terms of, I remember looking up the viewership numbers, and it was like
10 million.
Yeah, it was ridiculous numbers like that. Yeah.
The British people, EliteAri, they don't have good entertainment over there, you know.
True. All right.
I was taking a drink, EliteAri. You should have said something.
I don't know. I thought you had a further point.
Should we talk about our leading characters, EliteAri?
Absolutely. So we got at the moment we have 2 main characters. We have Sherlock Holmes.
What about the old lady?
Okay, we have 2 main characters and another one who lives in their house, which is Sherlock Holmes, Dr. John Watson, and then do you remember her name? the woman in the house?
Hold on, EliteAri. Mrs.
You might be able to
Barnacle.
No, Mrs. Hudson.
It doesn't even start with a B.
Yeah, that's okay. What do you think about these characters? Mainly Sherlock and Watson, of course.
It's funny because the Watson is Bilbo, so that's pretty funny. And Sherlock doesn't look like Doctor Strange at all, so that's pretty cool. Their charming is kind of overstating the case, EliteAri. I don't dislike these characters. There was a point. I guess there was a point where I was like, oh, this Watson guy is going to be like, oh, Sherlock's going to disregard human life, and he's going to say, Sherlock, you should really care about human life. Now, that did sort of come into play in episode 3, but he wasn't that... Oh, no, EliteAri. We're going to say the generic word. He wasn't that generic immediately from the beginning, which I thought was kind of interesting. At some point, like, because they kind of have the thing where it's like, man... He's like got PTSD, bro. But then it's like, no, he actually has reverse PTSD or whatever. He wants to be in the war. And I was like, oh, that's pretty cool, brother. That's pretty cool. That's not what I thought was going to happen. So that was pretty cool. Together when they're hanging out, they got chemistry, I suppose. It's not like my favorite character dynamic I've ever seen in anything. Sure. I guess all the words that are coming to my brain, EliteAri, are positive, but I'm hesitant because I'm like, well, I'm not that positive, but I don't really have anything negative to say either, EliteAri. So
okay, I guess
I could obviously see it being very mockable because Sherlock is like an autistic, like know-it-all, annoying guy, which could rub people the wrong way a lot. But I was like, it's fine. Yeah, it's endearing sometimes.
I'm a big fan of Sherlock. I think is really great. I'm also a big fan of Watson, but I like Sherlock's performance a lot better. I think it's interesting. I'm curious though, what do you think about, how would you describe Sherlock's character at this point? Like, what do you think he is? Like, how would you describe him?
Well, he describes himself as a sociopath sometimes, EliteAri, so that's pretty cool. But obviously the resolution to this is going to be highlighting his inner emotions. And, you know, he wanted to save the great John Watson a little bit in the pool at the end, though the great Watson did want to save him more. So, Now I did expect it to be revealed that it's like we haven't even mentioned this character yet. The one sexy police girl, EliteAri, who's fucking that other guy, definitely used to fuck Sherlock. But I think I decided that wasn't true. Okay. You know, in episode 1, I was like, oh, this is obviously true. Because she's like being mean to him and calling him a freak. And why would a young lady do that unless, you know, she was a spurred lover, EliteAri. And she's with that other one. But I decided that wasn't true. But why did I decide to bring that up, EliteAri? That was going to highlight some characterization. Oh, to show that he had, he's hiding his emotions rather than not having them, EliteAri.
Yeah, interesting.
But maybe they'll go with he's actually a sociopath. I don't know. EliteAri did a little chuckle when I said something there.
I'm just so curious, you know. These are early days in Sherlock. Okay. So Sherlock, Watson, Mrs. Hudson, what do you think about her?
She is a wacky lady, EliteAri.
True, with a husband who got executed by Sherlock. You know, one thing I like about this show is sorry, not executed by Sherlock, but you know what I mean. I like all the small, like, little interactions like that, where Sherlock has, like, a bunch of favors that he gets from people because he's, like, helped them out.
Yeah, back exposition.
Yeah, but it's just, like...
The one restaurant guy in episode 1, I think.
Yeah.
Like, he saved me from...
from triple homicide or something, because I was doing a break-in. Yeah. I love stuff like that. Yeah, Mrs. Hudson's interesting with her, like, criminal husband who was executed.
Well, I didn't remember the criminal husband thing. I remember the husband was dead, but you're telling me he was a criminal?
I mean, I assume, because Sherlock was like, yeah, she was like, Sherlock made sure that he got, like, the death sentence or something.
Oh, okay, yeah. All right, I remember this funny joke now. Yeah, she should be sad, but she's happy about it, so it's very
Indeed, funny. Yeah. Okay, let's just list all these characters then. We have Lestrade, the detective guy.
The main detective guy. What a cool guy, EliteAri. I've definitely seen this actor in something also.
It's probably true, believe it or not. I think he's in one episode of Doctor Who, so there you go. I could be wrong about that.
I don't like Doctor Who.
Let me check. No, he's not in Doctor Who, at least he doesn't show up immediately, but I'm sure he is.
I'm sure I've seen some British shows or something, and he was in there.
Yep. Relatively minor role, I guess, in the show, but he's there. Who else is there?
He wasn't even in the second episode. They had some other guy. And that led me to believe that he was going to get killed in episode 3 because the bad guy that we were ramping up the bad guy a little bit. And I was like, oh, did we introduce the guy in episode 2 just so we would have a police guy going forward? But he wouldn't like Sherlock as much. And that would lead to some drama. Whereas our main guy, Lestrade, or whatever EliteAri just said, he loves Sherlock.
Yeah, interesting. It is a strange thing that Lestrade just wasn't in episode 2. Like, as in,
he was off doing something.
I know, I just don't get it. Like, even from a production point of view, like, why was there like this random police guy, and then he came back in episode 3? Like, I just don't even understand. Like, was the actor not available?
He must have been filming that show that I liked him in.
Yeah,
that
maybe.
I can't remember.
Yeah, there's got to be some story behind that. And I'm sure Stephen Moffat and Mark Gatiss have done a lot of interviews I just haven't seen. But yeah. All right. That's Lestrade. What about? Okay, okay, well, no, we'll go with someone else. What about Molly, the morgue worker woman who has Moriarty as his,
Oh,
as her as his boyfriend?
she was in love with little Sherlock, but Sherlock was being mean to her.
True, very true. A lovely analysis.
And that's not cool.
All right.
She like this is definitely a type of character. Like I've definitely seen this exact relationship before, but I can't tell what it was from. For whatever reason, I'm thinking of Gotham, the TV show that I watched like 5 episodes of. But I don't know if that's true. I feel like in that, the Riddler starts off as a police guy, like she is. But then he would be in love with a pretty girl. But I don't remember any pretty girl characters, you know?
You know what? I have no opinion on Gotham, so I can't help you there.
I'll show these shows, Lee, right?
Yes. Okay, last character then. Well, there's 2 more, but the last one is Mycroft. What do you think of him?
Oh my god, the Great Brother. That there was definitely a like, oh, this is the Moriarty guy in episode 1 because he's like secretive and he's like Sherlock's rival. So I was already onto it, EliteAri. I know Sherlock lore. I'm like, this is the Moriarty guy. Interesting. But then I somehow figured out before at the end of the episode that that's not where we were going. Or before the reveal or something, I said that's not true. And then at the end, we got the more specific Moriarty thingy.
Okay, interesting. So you were tricked by the subversion.
What a wacky guy. Yeah. Him and Sherlock don't like each other, but you know, there's going to be an episode where they are forced to admit their true feelings of love for each other. EliteAri. We're looking forward to it in season 2.
Yep. Also, that have you seen this actor before? He plays one thing in something that I know.
He seemed familiar.
He plays the one of the Bravos bankers in like Game of Thrones season 5 or 6 or something. Yeah. He also plays.
I feel like it's not what I was thinking.
He's in something else we've seen. Was he in The Last of Us? No, what was he in? Let me have a look.
I'm thinking a movie for whatever reason.
It's very possible. I can't see anything when I look it up. But more importantly, this is one of the showrunners, Mark Gatiss. He plays Mycroft and is also the showrunner. It's kind of interesting.
The Gatiss guy, my goodness.
Yeah, he's an actor.
This is him?
Indeed.
Crazy.
Yep.
Hold on, now I want to look up.
Okay.
Well, you got to speak.
I don't know why you're looking up.
EliteAri. We got one
Are you looking up Mark Gatiss? Yeah, the last final character, which is probably we could talk about a little bit. Moriarty. What do you think about him? His first appearance.
This was like the second jump the shark moment where I was like, this is like terrible. I don't like this at all.
Interesting.
Like I don't like his little accents. I guess it's maybe my elementary knowledge of it being like a super cool girl that I'm pretty sure Sherlock Holmes used to date, and she was like suave and stuff, and I was like, that's pretty cool. And obviously Moriarty's supposed to be a spooky, scary guy, you know, he's supposed to be spooky, but he's like zany, which I guess ends up being a little scary, but it's also like, oh, okay, maybe this will change in the future. We'll see.
Yeah, interesting. I guess we'll see. We've seen 2 appearances of him, both very different.
Oh my god, this Matt Gatiss guy is going to be in Fantastic Four, EliteAri. Are you excited?
Is he? Wait, what? Oh yeah, he is. Oh my god.
It says movies and shows.
Wow.
I don't know who he's playing.
Good for him.
But yeah, also that guy, the Moriarty guy is the priest in season 2 of Fleabag, EliteAri.
That I did.
Which might be where I know that this other actor from too, actually, because that's a British show. But the priest is like people really like season 2 of Fleabag. I thought it was pretty good too, EliteAri. But the priest is like a very standout actor in that, so he was really good. He also he's definitely has the exact same voice as totally not Mark the YouTuber, so that's pretty cool.
Interesting.
As well as also that other British YouTuber, the one that like retired. Remember that one? They all sound the same, EliteAri. These fucking
I believe
British
you.
People.
The only thing you're talking about, his actor's name is Andrew Scott. I like him a lot. I've seen him in 2 things. I've seen him in Sherlock and I've seen him in Black Mirror. Both really,
I did see that when I looked on his page.
Yeah.
Because I was trying to figure out where he was from, and then I was like, oh, he's the fucking priest from Fleabag. That's crazy. He is very good in Fleabag, so I don't know why. He's terrible in this, EliteAri, but maybe we'll change.
Yeah, we'll have to see how he goes, but yeah.
Moving forward.
Yes. That's enough about the characters, I suppose. Let's just talk about episode by episode, I guess. Oh, actually, wait.
I suppose.
I do have one thing, which is something that I noticed only in this watch through, okay? Because I didn't know when I was a little kid watching this. Sherlock absolutely has like a tech problem, where on two fronts. One is like the front of like the directing wise, like there's a lot of times with like typing on a keyboard and they're very clearly not typing, and it's like a very like I feel like these days it doesn't really happen anymore where it's like this is a really dumb mistake. I guess it happened in Anora where there's like a guy playing a game and it's like he's clearly not actually playing that game. A similar thing happens in this a bunch where it's like they're using phones and it's like clearly not they're not actually using the phone, and I don't know, stuff like that. And then on the second front, there's like a very small like tech issue of like passwords where it's like Sherlock guesses a password once and it's just like someone's name, and I'm like, I get it, like 2010, you know, it's a bit old, and like maybe I would buy it more if it was like an old person's password or something, but I think he just guesses like John's password at some point, and I'm like, I get maybe John is like an old guy, and like I don't know, but it's a little, you know, Sherlock has a little bit of a tech problem, I think, but it's fine.
The more interesting tech-related thing is that it's another thing, and I talked about this when I talked about Revenge a long time ago, where it looks basically entirely modern, except for when the phones come out.
True.
Because at some point, Sherlock's like, oh my goodness, this rich lady has a smartphone. That means we can track it. And that was like, oh my god, they're not even all smartphones yet. This is crazy. This is 2010. Yep.
That is true.
I thought it was like 2016 right now. This is crazy.
Yep.
And how little our world has changed, EliteAri.
One important
but you can
thing,
also kind of get it with the laptop. But
yeah.
You'll see some big ugly laptops even nowadays.
One important thing to know as well, not important, but a big thing is that this was coming out at a time where Tumblr was very big, and Sherlock was like massive on Tumblr. I know that. I don't know what influence that has on anything, and I just know that whenever it was discussed...
Because of the gay boys that are the main characters?
Yeah, Sherlock and Watson were very big, like, shipped together. Like, I know that all across the fandom. The fandom of Sherlock is very big and large, and I wasn't very involved in it, but I know it's, like, everywhere, and even to this day, it's probably still pretty big, but... yeah, just something to point out.
God damn it, EliteAri just got spoiled.
Well,
on this Mycroft idiot, it says 2010 to 2017. That means he's not going to die.
Well, okay, I guess we'll see. I mean,
or he's just in flashbacks.
Yeah, we'll see. Let's keep watching the show, and I think you'll see more next season.
I didn't find nothing from that actor on the Wikipedia page.
Interesting. All right.
So maybe I'm just making up that I recognize all these actors just to seem cool. You ever think of that?
Very true. One more thing I just realized, because I was looking through my notes. I like the music in this. It's very memorable. I know you probably don't remember it, but I do. And it sets the tone very well. But yeah, that's it.
I don't remember it.
All right, episode 1, A Study in Pink, loosely based on A Study in Scarlet, which I've never read.
They changed the name, my goodness.
Yes, and it was named after that woman who had a pink everything.
But also, that good Watson guy writes a blog.
That is true. He has a blog. It is very 2010.
And he's writing the Sherlock Holmes books, EliteAri.
Yep, true. Well, no, not true.
Just like Frodo Baggins.
He does play one of those Lord of the Rings characters. That is true. But
no. Frodo writes the Lord of the Rings at the end of the Lord of the Rings, just like Samwell Tarly writes A Song of Ice and Fire at the end of Game of Thrones.
True.
It's pretty lame.
Maybe Watson will write Sherlock at the end of Sherlock. I guess we'll see.
He already did. He wrote the blog post.
True.
And he called it A Study in Pink.
Yep. Okay. Episode 1. This is an episode which is unique. I remember this as a distinct vibe where it's like very dark and stuff for me for some reason in my head. The mystery doesn't really get resolved. It's kind of open-ended. It's an introduction to the world and the characters. What do you think about this one?
It did get interesting towards the end when he was like, I just tell him something and they kill themselves. And you're like, oh my goodness, what's he going to say? This is epic. But then he just plays a game with them. So, okay. But that actor guy, you know, it's funny because they're all British, EliteAri, and the British, they're pretty funny and cool. So, you know, that guy was really British, so we liked him. He was saying things funny, but he was also menacing. But that's jumping towards the end, EliteAri. My first stop point here is Vietnam or the Middle East, because I see him in a uniform, EliteAri, and just trying to figure it out. But it turns out it was the Middle East. Yeah,
Afghanistan or Iraq was what Sherlock asked him. That was his first question.
And it totally feels like that the character Watson is supposed to have a limp or something and have a cane, because that's like an old timey thing, EliteAri. Sure. So I'm like, that must just be a thing that this character has. But then he got over it in the first episode, and now he doesn't have a cane anymore, EliteAri. So is that a sick reference that they then took away because we don't want disabled people in our great 2010s television show, or do you think that was just something for the
I have no idea. I feel like
I don't know nothing about the background.
I don't know anything. I feel like he had a cane in the movie that I watched, so I feel like it's probably a common like Watson trope. I I'm glad he doesn't have a cane. You know, he could run around. It was great. We love people who run around. We don't like
True, he got
disabled
up and he
people in Tiny
ran
Town.
around. It was pretty cool.
Yep. Okay, then I guess you have notes, but I was gonna say, like, what do you think about the first scene where we meet Sherlock and see his deductions? What do you think about Sherlock and his deductions? I guess. Do you like that? It's obviously a big part of the show.
His deductions are pretty cool, EliteAri. He's nearly as smart as me. You know, he's just picking up stuff, and you know, he's going Now I could again. This is probably what a H Bomber Guy video would be about, but like obviously some of them don't seem as smart as other ones. So if you were to pause all like flashing and be like, well, you really couldn't figure this out. And there's a million other explanations for what this possibly could be. You could stick your nose up at this television show, EliteAri, but I like it.
I feel like, firstly, I do think, yeah, that can happen sometimes. However, I do also like it. However, also, the show does an okay job of balancing Sherlock being wrong, or admitting that he could be wrong. Not ever admitting it, but like kind of saying like, oh, this is like at the end where he's like talking about which bottle to choose, and he just keeps reestablishing it's chance. He like keeps doing that, even though he's like enticed into figuring it out. The show does that a lot. And even like it'll say like, I remember the first scene where they're talking about the like he's deducing everything about Watson. Later on, he explains it and talks about the phone and everything and his sister, but thinks it's a brother. He's like, oh, you know, usually I get like a bunch of stuff wrong. I'm surprised I don't get it wrong. And it's like, it is in the character that he thinks he's smarter than he is sometimes, but like it is an element of the character to be kind of overconfident in the things he sees, I think. Like, it's not just like, oh, he's like making this deduction and it happens to work out. Or I guess that kind of is what it is, where it's like, he could be wrong. And I'm sure sometimes in the future, he probably will be wrong about things. And yeah, it's like a little bit of like, yeah, the show is like writing him to be like smarter than he could be. But also at the same time, I think it is an element of like, he is a bit egotistical and will sometimes make leaps that probably don't make sense. But in him, it's like, it has to be the case. Like, this is obviously what it is. But yeah, anyway.
Well, there's also like little things where like at the end he'll say like the last one was a guess, but it makes him seem even cooler. So it doesn't matter that he like wasn't smart, because being smart is actually about being cool. And this is really cool when he says, and the last part, how did you know that it was actually my something? And it was like, I just guessed. And then he walks up in and he's like, and then bewildered John face. It's like, whoa, that's the coolest guy ever that just walked off screen.
Amen.
It was funny when he got that John had the sister. It was a name that could have been
Harry.
Not unisex EliteAri, because that would mean only one sex, but you know what I'm saying here.
Yes.
And it was actually his sister. Now that was crazy. He got that one wrong.
He did.
And there's also like there's the reoccurring joke that he doesn't know anything about the stars, EliteAri. They're about our grander solar system.
True.
So, you know, there's little digs there.
Yep.
But yeah, true.
I do, just about his deductions. I do also like the little things that are seeded throughout, where it's like, I think the first scene we see him in is when he's investigating like what happens if you whip someone and what, like, how quickly the bruises form, and he's like always trying to study stuff and like see like the most obscure knowledge he can gather, so that one day it might come in handy. Yeah, exactly. See how he decomposes or whatever. And then also there's like one at the end in the final episode where he identifies the writing of like, or what pen a particular like piece of writing comes from, and it's like, oh, he clearly got this from all the research he would have done on random pens, which he's like, oh, this might be useful one day. And it's stuff like that. I like the little research things that hinted throughout. But yep,
there's two things I just thought of. First of all, there's also a really cool scene in the first episode where you silently, like, it's one of the things where the words pop up and Sherlock's like silently looking around, which clues you in on what's happening. And then they run the scene, like then the cop comes in and starts making a bunch of wrong assumptions, and it very much puts you in like positions you behind Sherlock, because you're like, actually no. And it's very cathartic when he says the actually no. So it like makes you Sherlock. Like, because most of the time up until that point, it's been a year with John, and Sherlock like does a bunch of things to you, and you're like, whoa, that's amazing. Whereas this time you have like the bit by bit of being in Sherlock's perspective, and he hasn't actually said anything out loud yet. And it's just like things you've seen. And then you get to be on the other side of it, which is very interesting. It makes it seem like more real, I guess, that he's actually deducing all these things, because now you see, it's sort of like seeing how the magic trick is done, but it still wows you a little bit, EliteAri, because
very
it's like,
true.
whoa. You had to figure that out. You didn't figure out that thing. You just got the assist from the little text pop-up. But also this leads to a possible problem, I think, that again, like sort of a more like a nitpicky critique could have with the show. Because if there ever is a point where it's like the answer seems really obvious and you end up being right, but Sherlock is like stammering around for like 30 minutes trying to figure it out, that could fuck up the show pretty bad.
That is true.
That hasn't happened yet. We'll see, I guess. If anything, that reverse deduction thing, that was what my note said, was probably the most impressive scene in the show. It is when he first sees the main girl's body in the first episode, the one that's in pink. So that was pretty cool.
Yep, true. All right.
Do you want to know my funny second note, EliteAri?
Go ahead, yeah.
Bro, what's Bilbo doing?
That's so funny, Kyle. Well done. I'm sure someone listening right now,
EliteAri doesn't like Lord of the Rings.
No, I don't.
Or,
it's fine. It's
you haven't even seen The Hobbit, which is the one that this great Martin Sheen the old one? What's this idiot's name, EliteAri?
Martin
John
Freeman.
Watson? Oh, it is Martin. I'm a genius. Anyway, he doesn't play old...
I think Kyle just died. I can't hear him anymore. He's gone.
Well, that was a great Hobbit joke, EliteAri. Everybody, EliteAri's internet died for a second, so our great joke was cut off. But, you know, we'll just have to live with it. You know, this guy plays... why don't you like Lord of the Rings, EliteAri?
It's perfectly fine. I don't have any big issue with it.
No, you always shit on it whenever it comes up on a stream. You say, why would you like lame Lord of the Rings?
I've never said that. It's fine. It's a good series. I like Sherlock.
Fine is not good enough.
All right.
You know, EliteAri, the Florida Project, it's fine.
It's really good. You haven't seen it.
See, you just got bamboozled, EliteAri.
Thank you. What else?
My next note, EliteAri,
is
massively interesting. It says London as a location. Yeah. So, EliteAri, this
busy.
London, what an interesting place. You know, these European places, you know, they're like old, but there's like new stuff in it. It's crazy, EliteAri. Imagine being old, like hundreds of years old. That would be insanity. We don't get that over here where we live. And in America, it's a little less old, you know. Old American stuff looks different to old London stuff, which looks different to like old Italy stuff that you might see in like The Sopranos in the one episode they go there. But you know, a bunch of these European cities, they've been around for billions of years. We saw Thorkel fight on the London Bridge, EliteAri, and now Sherlock's running around there. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It is interesting. This is like a wider topic, I guess.
All right.
I'll streamline it. Traveling is something people want to do, and this is kind of the closest I ever get to it, where I'm like, London is cool. I want to be in a show. We're in London, so this is pretty cool. Because all American cities are kind of lame, I guess. I guess that's not true, but it could just be any city, right? It's like, New York. Well, that's a little different to Los Angeles. Okay, I understand that. If I saw the city skylines or whatever, or an establishing shot, I could probably tell the difference. But like Chicago or Toronto or Las Vegas would be pretty identifiable. In Seattle, it would be raining all the time. So I don't know. I guess America has it. But like global stuff, like when you're going in Uncharted, you go into different places all over the planet. It's like, this is so cool, EliteAri. I'm assuming that's what it is like in Indiana Jones. Even in Marvel, EliteAri, where you get the big text pop up because you're in a different part of the world. That's always cool.
Yes.
Obviously, London, like outside of American cities, is probably the most common city. Like Fleabag, I've seen, is set in London. There's a healthy part of Uncharted that's in London. There's other things, I'm assuming, EliteAri, that I've seen that are in London.
Yeah, Spider-Man. No Way Home.
Yes, and they went to Italy in one.
Yeah. Oh, it was Italy. I thought it was London. Oh
you were just mixing up. You're a fucking idiot, EliteAri. You should kill yourself.
Yep.
That was Venice. It's the same place where that great Pokemon movie we're going to watch one day is set, EliteAri. Though it's in a fake Pokemon-esque Venice. That's in Italy, EliteAri. You know, they got the water.
Right.
This is all because a show that I've been putting off watching for a long time is The Romanoffs, EliteAri, which is the Mad Men creators' other show. And one of the defining appeals almost that have nearly got me back, even though I haven't watched an episode in like a year and a half, is like every episode is set in a different, like a big city. Like I know the next one I'm supposed to watch is in Mexico City. Now that's an interesting location. The last one I think was in New York City, and then there was one at the beginning that was in Paris, and you're like, oh, Paris is pretty cool, brother. Let me go to Paris for a thing. Oh, season 4 is all in London, EliteAri. Of course. So I don't know, cities are interesting. Like if there was something that was set in like Brisbane City, EliteAri, I'd have to watch that show. Where would they shoot it? Could I recognize things? It was like in Cowboy Bebop, the live action show, when I realized at one point by looking at the skyline that they were shooting this thing in fucking New Zealand, in Auckland. I was like, oh my goodness. I've been there a lot. I can identify certain things in the background. This is kind of cool. But London is a good location, EliteAri, so this show has that on its side. And it's interesting to just see like what the streets look like. I guess you get this when we're watching all of our Japanese stuff, EliteAri, where it's like these silly little Tokyo things. It looks a little small and it looks a little weird, and there's some... Isn't the world just a big, beautiful place, EliteAri?
It is. All these major cities, they're just so different. And sometimes they're exactly the same. But, yep.
And old London, you know, What a place.
True, they have that giant, the wheel, the Ferris wheel, and they have the Big Ben.
Big Ben is the tower. Yep. And then they got
the London Eye.
I think Buckingham Palace is not in London or something, but true. The London Eye, that's the big thingy, EliteAri.
Yep.
And they got a bunch of other recognizable things. I know everything, EliteAri.
221B Baker Street.
True.
All right.
That's where they live. Yep. I know.
All right, any more notes?
Sherlock is autistic, but also Tony Stark. True, he is very Tony Stark to me, and like, not really, but like, him and Tony Stark are born out of the same idea of what is cool, and it feels very like early 2010s.
The way they like talk to people?
Very interesting. Yes, kind of the cool genius guy that's like sarcastic. Now, obviously, Tony Stark is much less autistic and much more like playboy, whereas Sherlock is much more autistic. But even the type of like dialogue they do is very similar, because you wouldn't describe this as Marvel humor, but early Marvel humor and this are similar. What I guess it depends on the era of Marvel humor, because I guess when I think Marvel humor, the first thing I think of is like Rocket Raccoon or something, but that's like late Marvel. That's like when Marvel's already dead, EliteAri. You know, we love the great Phase 1 stuff here, and not 2014. Are you kidding me? But I don't know. It gives you nostalgia for a weird part in time, EliteAri.
True.
They're both geniuses, so a track. Anyway, I got like 19 more notes on this first episode. Most of them are on the first episode.
I got nothing. I have one, which is about the ending. So keep going. Go ahead.
Oh my god. I didn't know the Sherlock lore. I don't know the Sherlock lore. Now, I may have said already that I did know that, EliteAri, so I don't contradict myself. Is Baker Street and the room number important? Question mark. Because they did reveal it like it was important, but it has to be important, EliteAri.
Yeah, that's in the original novel.
Definitely where they live.
Yeah.
Where they live in the novels, true. Did it get blown up in the novels too? My goodness, EliteAri, let's not get ahead of ourselves here. The deducing scene was really cool. I thought we weren't going to address it. Oh, that's true. The first time I saw it, I was like, oh, we're just supposed to pretend that he actually does this in real time. That's stupid. But then we got that reverse scene where we saw it. It was cool, EliteAri, I'm telling you.
Yep.
And it was going to be magic, quotation marks. Then we got the non-diegetic clues. What a big word.
Wow.
And then in Sherlock's perspective, before he does his explanation to the police guy, I already said all that, EliteAri. The state of her knees! Exclamation mark, EliteAri. What's that a reference to? Do you remember?
The blowjob, yeah.
Yeah, she was sucking that guy's dick, EliteAri. That was definitely something a H-bomb guy video could critique. Remember that super big YouTube video? You don't, EliteAri. But it was like it was about that show, EliteAri, Big Bang Theory. It was like not the subtle misogyny, or it was like the nerdy misogyny of Big Bang Theory or something. And it would have been a bunch of jokes like this, I bet. Because we're supposed to be funny because we're calling out guys that are being mean to us, but we're actually doing it in a sexist fashion, EliteAri. And that's not okay.
True.
Anyway, I thought it was pretty funny. It's a smartphone. Hey, I already talked about this. The revenge talking point. I already talked about this. Oh, and the thing was called Me Phone instead of iPhone, EliteAri. That was pretty funny.
That is true. I don't know if that was like a joke or if there was a Me Phone, but yeah, I know. I did notice that.
No, that is crazy. Did Goodle ever exist, EliteAri, or was Steins Gate just lying to us? We'll never know.
Yeah, I don't think it
They had... Oh, and then I have a big question mark where I'm like, they had like phone tracking in 2010? I swear that came out like last year.
Yeah, it's existed at least since 2007. Probably earlier.
No, that's crazy, on God. Self-described sociopath, we kind of already talked about this. More interested and curious than justice-oriented, EliteAri. True. He's just bored, and that's why he does things. He doesn't do things because it's the right thing to do. My goodness.
That is true. He is very bored. He enjoys the mystery, the game, you could say. The great game in episode 3.
Oh, I guess, yeah, that makes sense. I understand. Episode 3, and we'll get to it, EliteAri. Remind me to bring up Die Hard 3. What a great reference. They're both the third one. You think the umbrella guy is Moriarty, but it's probably the guy who's a fan? Oh, I'm a genius, EliteAri.
The guy who's a fan? Or just like a guy who's a fan?
Yeah, the bad guy at the end says, like, you got a fan, and he's who's making me do this. And it was Moriarty,
okay. So. Sure, yeah.
I'm a genius. I wonder if the resolution is going to be Sherlock having feelings. I already talked about that, EliteAri. He used to be with the sexy girl. We already talked about that, EliteAri.
Yep.
Sherlock tortures the guy. Watson shoots him. Morally ambiguous young men are over here. My goodness, EliteAri.
That is true. He shoots him. He dies. And then I remembered that.
and they act like it was nothing. They're just both going to get dinner afterwards. Yeah, there's no trauma from killing a man. You know, and we're just cool guys over here.
Yep.
And then my last note, EliteAri, is brother ! Oh, and another funny thing, EliteAri, that's set up here is that Watson is trying to fuck EliteAri. He's trying to fuck that one girl that's in the thing, and then he gets a girlfriend in episode 2.
Yep.
True.
God,
she was a pretty girl, and she didn't care.
God, the one line
she's
where
coming back.
He's like in the cab with her, and he's like basically asking her out on a date. She doesn't notice, and then he's like waiting there, and he's like, "Bye," and like looks at him like, "Oh my god, this is so, oh god, it's so cringe, but so funny." Yeah. Anyway, Sherlock.
But that was all of my episode 1 notes.
So my last question about this is, what do you think happened? Where was the guy? What was his plan? Like, do you think he had a way of figuring it out? Do you think he was lying? Do you think Sherlock figured it out? Do you think Sherlock was lying? Like, what
no, he was a cool guy who wanted to die, right? So it was a fair game.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't even think this was ambiguous until you said it like 20 minutes ago.
Interesting. I just assumed it is. Like, in my mind, and this is probably based on like when I read theories in like 2012 or whatever, the guy is just lucky. He doesn't have a way of deducing it or anything.
Yeah.
He just like randomly takes one, and he's fine with dying because there's a chance of getting money. But yeah.
Oh yeah, he was getting money for it too. I forgot about that part.
Yeah, likely from the great Moriarty.
Oh, and it was a cool little twist that they stopped the cab driver because Sherlock thought, but it was just a guy from America, dude. But then it was actually the cab driver the whole time. Crazy, bro, crazy.
That is true. All right, so that was episode 1, A Study in Pink. When do we want to compare these episodes?
EliteAri.
Yeah.
True, that's what I was about to say. I'm saying maybe the best one, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. They all had their strengths, and there were parts that were a little boring,
I can give. Should I give my overall thoughts on what I think of, like, which one's best or whatever? Or do you want to know?
Yes.
Okay, so to me, episode 3 is the best by far. That's the one I like the most in this season.
No, it was bad at the end.
Episode 1 is my second favorite. And then episode 2, which is what we're about to talk about, to me it was like
probably yeah.
This is like it's a little convoluted. There's like a little bit too much action, I feel like, and I don't know, it's like a little it's not that interesting, I think. And also famously, this is like early on in Sherlock, this is probably the most disliked episode. Like, there's a lot of people who are like, oh, like those first 2 seasons, they're really good, except for the blind banker, which is, yeah. So it is people don't really like this one that much, but yeah.
There are parts of this that I really like. Like, I like the banker setup. It gets into the Chinese stuff, it's pretty weird. And them saying the Black Lotus or whatever, it's literally a Ninja Turtles joke. Like, not literally, but like, I think constantly, because in the Ninja Turtles, in the really old Ninja Turtle show that isn't even the one I like that much, like, is it the White Lotus? It's the something Lotus, and they're also saying it with like vaguely racist Asian accents, so it was all I could think about. I was like, oh, this is pretty lame. So I was like, oh.
I have no idea.
Besides, it reminded me of Revenge a bunch.
It might just be a real thing. I have no idea.
They both might be referencing a real thing. But I was still like, this is not that intimidating. But I don't know. It was okay. It wasn't too bad.
Yeah, I agree. I liked it. It was good. It just was the least.
I was shocked when the girl actually died, EliteAri. But then I think there was a thing in episode 3 that was like that, where it was like somebody that I definitely didn't think was gonna die died.
The old lady.
So, Sherlock be killing people out here. No, because I just thought of that and I was like, no, that was like whatever. But there was like somebody else, but I don't remember.
All right, we'll get to it when we get to it.
I think. Yeah, I guess we'll talk about it later. True, EliteAri. Episode 2, get into it. Give me all your notes.
All right, my one note is, according to Wikipedia, it's loosely based on The Adventure of the Dancing Men. And I think the one element of that, which is like incorporated in this story, is like the fact that there's a code in that one, and they're like trying to decipher a code in this episode.
True, he had books and codes. Yeah. Now, because EliteAri, I have significantly less notes. I have a total of 5 notes for this one and a total of 6 notes for the next one.
All right.
So we're gonna have to recall some things here.
Yes.
First of all, if you're in a gang, why would you have a tattoo of the gang on your foot? Wouldn't you just go to prison?
Isn't this a common thing? Don't people have like tattoos and stuff that mean
I feel like it is.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's like a thing.
But that's stupid.
Yeah, but you also need to like somehow. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know enough about gangs to have any idea, but I feel like it's almost certainly a real thing.
Can we start a gang and run it properly and show up all these idiots that are getting tattoos?
Yeah, in Minecraft, we can have a Minecraft gang.
Minecraft.
He occupies a minor position in the British government. That was his line in this.
Oh my goodness, he did. There was plans for a missile, but we'll talk about that later.
Yep.
We got Chinese music and Chinese girl, EliteAri. That was pretty funny at the beginning.
How was that funny?
Because it was, I don't think we would be doing that nowadays, but it was, she's literally doing a Chinese tea set, and she's got a Chinese accent, and I was like...
She's from China. Little... What are you talking about? Why is why would they not do this? You absolutely can be doing this.
Not with the overwrought, very generic
She works at a Chinese museum. What are you talking about? Why would she not do this?
No, it was a museum for all sorts of things, I'm pretty sure.
All right, well, she works in the Chinese part of the museum. Like, why would there not be the Chinese music? I don't think there's any problem with this.
Well,
maybe later on.
Music wasn't diegetic, I don't think.
That doesn't make any difference.
But I think this is also intercut with note 2 here, which is Middle Eastern music and Middle Eastern guy.
I don't see any issue with this. Why is there any issue with this?
Well, it's just like the music cues were very funny, EliteAri.
I don't know why that's funny. I
can't have the song and then have the Chinese girl show up, EliteAri.
Why? What do you mean?
She should have a classical guitar.
Okay, here is where it would be an issue. If she wasn't from China and being part of China wasn't like part of the story, and she was just like a Chinese American person,
no, that doesn't matter. Yeah. No, that's cool.
No, that would be really bad and like not funny. But the fact that she's a Chinese person, the other guy was, I don't know, maybe he wasn't like a Middle Eastern.
You just want your Chinese people to be generic and identifiable, EliteAri, by their gong music.
I have no comment on that. In the music. Yeah, I don't remember. I don't even remember this music. But yeah. Anyway, true controversies.
But why was Sherlock fighting this guy? Was he just his friend? I don't think this ever came back.
Yeah, I don't know. He was just busy doing something. It was a joke set up for the joke where John comes back.
That idiot came back and he thought he was in the same spot. What a silly guy.
Yep. And Sherlock's just so cool, not bringing it up. Yeah.
Yes, that's the coolest. Now, those are my first 2 notes. And then my third note is the Black Lotus, bro. So I was laughing at that too. I was surprised the sister died. True, we already talked about that too. Wow, yeah. It was Moriarty the whole time, ! I wasn't very impressed with that, where the Chinese gang lady is very scared at the end. That was not cool. But EliteAri, I left out all the cool parts. So first of all, we're with this banker guy. He's pretty funny and something, and they're all around there. I remember thinking that was cool. They were in a large building with lots of
He went to university with Sherlock. Interesting story.
Yes, they were. They were banging broads together, EliteAri. That's what they were doing. But he was his characterization was kind of interesting because you're kind of waiting for him to be like a loser guy, but he kind of wasn't. It was funny. And he kind of not operated, but he did the role. What am I looking for?
Played the role? I have no idea.
Words. He fulfilled the role of like the police guy, where he was like the guy we would come back to who kind of believes Sherlock more than other people. That was a super cool. Now, these are the coolest scenes that you can ever have in fiction, EliteAri. So it's when Sherlock rocks into the restaurant and the great guy is with all of his banker friends. They're telling some classical jokes, or he's trying to sell them on something. And Sherlock rolls in and he says, the guy died in the thing. And he starts expositing some super cool stuff, some super secret investigative stuff that he's figured out that only the one guy at the table understands, and all the other guys are like, what? And then they have to go and leave and go to the bathroom because it was so cool and stuff. So those are the coolest scenes in fiction, EliteAri. You can think of many examples and many of your favorite TV shows.
I'm sure.
Where it's just like that. And obviously it's the coolest thing. 2 guys, they just, everybody else, they're just having a secret conversation that's not secret at all in front of everybody else. They got no idea. That's the coolest.
Yes.
Now, this is also the one with the dead makeover lady and her house and stuff, right?
Oh, God. No, that's the next one.
And the cat?
No, that's the next episode.
Are you sure? Oh my god.
Almost 100% what the hell happened in this one? I could be wrong. This was the one with all the different people smuggling stuff back. So there was the investment guy, there was the guy
there was a fat guy.
Who else was there?
He was fat.
There was a guy who was running to his house and then like hid in his house and something and died.
They've all got cool houses too, EliteAri, huh?
Yeah, cool British houses, yeah.
Like the houses that go up 2 stories and, they got like a weird top roof part, or I don't think it's an attic, EliteAri, but it's like a room where like half of it is like a ceiling window and it goes down and then they got a bookcase. I don't know. It's pretty cool. My house is just a box.
That's real. Yeah.
EliteAri doesn't even have a house. What a loser.
That is true. I live in an apartment like the 2 people who were killed in this episode, I think.
True.
Yeah. And then there was the lady in the museum. She died too. Those were 3 people.
I can't believe she died.
It was kind of crazy. I can't believe it either. For some reason in my mind, 2 things. One, I was like, oh, I'm excited. The Golem guy is going to be in this episode. And then it didn't show up. And then the second thing, I was like, oh yeah, this girl. I think she like survives. It was kind of crazy. No, she died. I was like, wow, okay. Didn't have much of a memory for this episode.
It was her brother too, I think. Now that's crazy, EliteAri.
That is true. They like hugged or something, or they looked at each other affectionately, and then he killed her. It's crazy.
It's not cool.
Yep.
And then there was a whole show. Oh, and John Watson's girlfriend showed up, EliteAri.
Yeah, I was convinced that she was going to break up with him because, you know, he slept on the job and it was going to be like a whole "you're fired" thing, but no, didn't happen.
True. They try and get a job because they needed some money.
Yep.
Now, EliteAri, that was a bit of a trap because I was waiting for you to say yes. Oh, I remembered her name, EliteAri. Sarah. Mm-hmm. You were going to say Sarah, and then I was going to be like, she's going to be in all of the seasons now. But now I don't know, EliteAri. Maybe she won't even be around in season 2. This is crazy.
She's still
Maybe Moriarty will kill her. Now, that'll be crazy.
Maybe.
We'll have to wait and see. I didn't check her Wikipedia page and see 2010 to 2017, did I?
Yeah, you didn't.
Now, their relationship was kind of cute a little bit, I guess.
She really
could have done more
him.
with it, EliteAri. She did. She interviewed him, and then she caught him, and then she did his patience, and then they went on a date, and she beat up a guy, but then she was crying because she nearly died at the end with the sandbag thingy and the arrow shot.
Yep.
Imagine how awkward it would be watching that performance because you just have to like stand around awkwardly. That would have been terrible, EliteAri. I didn't like that.
Yeah, and then like what if someone dies? And you're like, man, why did I watch this? Why did I just stand here watching them die?
No, who cares about that?
Yeah,
you got to sit down and hide, you know, in the theater. Nobody can see you when you're sitting down and hiding like that.
True. Sherlock was
standing up on the date. Goodness. That's true. He did show up. They did get 3 tickets. It was hilarious, EliteAri.
Oh, and then it all set up for the big finale where they're like, John, you're not John, you're Sherlock Holmes because of this evidence and this evidence.
True, because he had a bunch of his stuff. True. Yeah. What a misunderstanding.
Yep. Is that it for this episode?
Well, I forgot what else happened.
I don't know. There wasn't much to talk about in this.
That museum boy really wanted to kiss that Asian lady, but he never got to, EliteAri.
That's so sad, yeah.
It was sad.
What do you think of the teapots that you have to pour tea on to kind of refine them or something?
True, otherwise they break forever, and I guess they're forever broken because that girl fucking died.
So sad.
And then also, EliteAri, they're hanging out in that museum. We love museums. That was a cool place. And they also broke into her apartment, and then Sherlock got beaten by that guy.
Yeah, by the acrobat guy or something. Yeah, that was funny.
Yes.
And he never told John what happened.
He killed his girlfriend. True, but John did say pretend to be Sherlock outside. What an idiot.
Yep. What did you think of the code? I didn't. It was fine. I didn't have a big interest in the code, the big yellow.
You got to go to this part on the book, EliteAri. I already learned about codes in the Five Nights at Freddy's game theory video. So, you know, I've seen cooler codes.
Fantastic. All right.
But true, you had to figure out that it was something on the train tracks. But there was also train tracks in the next episode, EliteAri, so don't get confused. But he wrote a whole thing.
Yep.
In an old Chinese thingy.
And the girlfriend figured it out? Sarah.
Oh, yeah, I think so, huh?
Yep. All right. Then, next up, we have The Great Game. So this one has no thing that it's based on. It's loosely based on a bunch of stories that I think. Like I think all the mini because there's like a bunch of 5 different things that are figured out here, right? I think
so. They really did just copy Die Hard 3. This is crazy.
Yeah. So what's this? But I don't know anything about Die Hard besides the Rick and Morty episode.
The Great Die Hard. Now you remember Die Hard 1 is a big movie about terrorists taking over a building, and the great John McClane, played by Bruce Willis, he's a police guy. He's going to see his kind of divorced wife. She's having a Christmas party here, EliteAri. It's a Christmas movie. That's why it's a Christmas movie, because it's happening on Christmas Eve. And they get taken over by Snape. He's the main terrorist guy. He takes over the Great Tower. And he has to, when they take everybody hostage at the Christmas party, they don't, John McClane's taking a shit or something. So then he's crawling around the place. He kills all the terrorists one by one. And he kills that guy at the end. He saves the day. Now, number 2 is the same movie, but it's in an airport, and it's lame, and nobody remembers it. Lame, boring, nobody. Die Hard 3, EliteAri. Now, this is a great movie. Some say it's even better than the next one. Now, 4, 5, and 6, EliteAri, all notoriously terrible movies. So we've got Die Hard 1 and Die Hard 3. Die Hard 3, co-starring the great Samuel L. Jackson. It's actually the bad guy from the first movie's German brother. Now, he's a terrorist. And he's doing the game thing, EliteAri. He's saying, well, I'm going to blow up a building, Mr. John McClane, if you don't go to Harlem and wear a thing that says I hate N-words on it. And that's where Samuel L. Jackson meets him, because he's like, white boy, if you don't get inside, those guys over there are going to kill you because they're about to notice you in 5 seconds. And he
Wait,
starts
I
that
think
count,
I've
and then
seen
5
that.
seconds later,
Yeah,
everybody's seen that scene, EliteAri. It's a famous scene. They say, "What the fuck?" And then they start coming over, and then they got to like jump in a car or something, and he has to explain really quickly what. And there's a bunch of little games like that where it's like you got to get exactly 10 liters of this water into here, or I'm gonna blow up this school. And they got to like fuck around with the thing, and they're freaking out and they're swearing because Samuel L. Jackson swears really good. So anyway, it's kind of the same concept for a little bit, but then at the end they just have to like they get a phone and they track the guy, and then they got to go and hunt down the base or something. They were on a ship or something. It was pretty cool.
Wow, I see the resemblance then.
So it was the same concept.
Yeah.
Kinda.
I do like the 5 different things here. It keeps it much more interestingly paced. I like the mini mysteries.
True, that was
fun.
5.
Yeah. I like the idea of like having a voice speaking through the person who is kidnapped, and it's like they have to speak and repeat the words. That was a cool idea.
Crazy.
Yeah, it was cool. A good episode.
And then John was the last one, and he showed up, and you're like, "Oh my god, is this going to be some twist where he's actually the bad guy?"
What did you actually think? Did that
it
work
for me for like 5 seconds?
Wow.
And then I realized he was wearing like a sweater, and I was like, "Oh." But then I was like, I probably would have heard about this if he was actually Moriarty, but I hadn't heard about it. So you know.
That is
and then Moriarty showed up, and he was a little loser, speaking weird, and I didn't like it at all.
But did he trick you the first time he showed up, or did you be like, that's the Moriarty guy?
Oh, yeah, I just thought he was some gay guy. I just thought it was characterization for our lovely little girl that's going to end up marrying Sherlock in the end. It's going to be epic.
True. He did manage to trick Sherlock. It's kind of crazy. He just thought it was a generic gay person.
Initially. But he's not gay, EliteAri. Bilbo and Doctor Strange are gay. Now, my first note, EliteAri, it's very funny. You want to hear it?
Go ahead.
He don't speak good in it. That was the first scene, EliteAri, where
that was very
goes to Belarus,
yeah.
and he's talking to this guy, but this guy is not going to be found innocent. So you know, Sherlock doesn't take the case. That guy just killed his wife.
He's going to get hanged or whatever. Yeah.
Yes.
I like that. I didn't write down the dialogue, but I thought it was very clever the way they did it. Like even just the final subversion of like you think he like corrects himself, like the mistake, and then he makes them like the same mistake, like in the word afterwards that he corrects, and like Sherlock is like, oh god damn it, it's really good.
It's funny because they've been speaking like that British a little bit. You know, that's how they speak earlier. They speak retarded, even though that's where English comes from.
Wow.
But Sherlock wasn't correcting it in the first 2 episodes. So what's up with that?
He was probably just annoyed by this guy. I don't know. I have no idea.
True. He was wasting his time.
Yep.
But he was bored, EliteAri.
He probably was. Yeah, Sherlock is often bored. We see him this episode bored.
Yeah, that's the whole point, EliteAri. That's why I said it.
All right. I have one note on this. I have 2 notes on this. So do you have anything else you want to say?
I got 5 more.
All right, go ahead.
The main police guy is going to die. I already talked about that.
He survived?
I recognize the gay guy. That's the gay guy. We already talked about that too.
Yep.
City boy. Oh yeah, that's a term they use a lot for, I guess, people who are originally from London or something. Or it's kind of like a rich guy thing, slang, it seems to be. Like, this city boy killed himself or something. And I think they make a comment in, like, episode 1 about how, like, city boys usually end up killing themselves. But, like, if you're not a city boy, you're not going to kill yourself because you're tougher than that or something. Because you're from the great suburb of Birmingham or something.
Just like
do you think Birmingham is near London? Who knows, EliteAri? We don't know geography of this fucking place. Yep. They did say Thames, EliteAri, which is the big river that runs through London and stuff. Who gives a fuck, EliteAri? But they mentioned that in that book I read the first little bit of, Heart of Darkness. They were sitting on the River Thames, EliteAri. And they were chilling and saying, man, the Vikings came down here one time and now we are. And that was like profound. It was pretty cool.
Cool.
So I have context now, EliteAri. You know, I'm famous. No, I'm not famous, EliteAri. I'm smart. But I'll be famous another day.
Yep.
Not because of this discussion. I'll tell you what, EliteAri. What are we thinking? 80 views?
This is a popular show. I have no idea. It could be anywhere from 50 views to like 500. I don't know.
Now you're trying to tell me you haven't made videos about this before, and it's just been Doctor Who. So I don't know what to believe.
I've never even made a Doctor Who video. I mean, I've made like unscripted ones, I guess.
You made about 7 reaction videos, EliteAri.
Yes, that is true. Man, if a new season of Sherlock comes out, that'd be crazy.
No, it ends because Sherlock dies. You just spoiled everything, EliteAri. You're so stupid. Gollum Nosferatu shots. We already talked about that. This Moriarty guy is kind of annoying.
That did remind me. The Stephen Moffat and Mark Gatiss, the showrunners of this, also in 2020 made a series called Dracula, which is...
I did see that when I Googled just now.
Yeah, which I haven't seen. I would be curious to like see at least the first episode. But yeah, it's interesting, you know? I guess they really like Dracula.
Dracula also was contemporaneous with Sherlock Holmes and the writing, both in the late 1800s, EliteAri. So, you know.
Wow.
They just go together so well, I guess.
Yep.
But yes, my last note was this Moriarty guy is kind of annoying, bro, on God. So I didn't like that. I wasn't impressed, EliteAri.
Yeah, we'll have to track, see how that goes.
Yeah, he still sucks, EliteAri. I already watched season 2. It was just revealing it now.
Interesting. You think he's in season 2? I guess it did end on a cliffhanger. So I guess we'll...
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, what do you think is going to happen about the cliffhanger, I guess?
Well, he's going to shoot the thingy and they're going to jump into the pool and then all the guys are going to be gone and then they're going to go be like, now that was crazy. And then they're going to go back home and then they're going to have a new mystery to solve. It's going to be crazy.
Okay, this is a fascinating idea.
What's your prediction?
I think that Sherlock's gonna figure out a clever way to get out of here. I don't know. We'll see. I have one note on this episode, which is it was very funny when Sherlock was pretending to be an old friend of the guy who died and was talking to the wife, and the wife kept contradicting him, and then later he's like, yeah, people hate to tell information, but they love to contradict you. And I'm like, oh, true. Yep. That's all I have.
Now that is crazy.
Sherlock,
now there were cool moments that... Huh?
The supernova resolution of why the painting was fake, that was kind of cool. I like that. He had 10 seconds to figure it out.
True, and that lady actually was in on it. She did actually know it was a fake. That was crazy.
Yep. And she was like...
She was from Czechoslovakia, just like all the people in Monster EliteAri.
I don't know, but no spoilers. But there was the look where Sherlock was like, the child's going to die if you don't tell us. And she's like about to say it. I was like, no, don't tell us. If you say it, it's going to ruin it. Good.
True.
Scenes, you know?
They were cool because again we had the great cat, of course, EliteAri, the great cat scene. Because they were all, but the cat didn't kill her. They just disinfected the cat because
the guy's a good housekeeper or whatever. Yeah.
True. Yes.
Raoul.
But he actually killed that girl. It was crazy. Raoul, yes. Yeah. Another bad guy minority, EliteAri. I'm not liking this show very much.
Was he a minority? I don't even know.
Rahul?
Okay, I guess the name is like, I don't know. Maybe, yeah.
Now, true, she was on TV and she made fun of her brother on TV, and then her brother has a hairless cat. True.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool. Oh, the reason why I wanted to bring any of that up, EliteAri, is because they go outside and it's one of those Harry Potter things like the Dursleys where every house on the street is exactly the same. And that shit's crazy, EliteAri. The English, they're wacky and stuff. Yes, and it's also a weird, like... The environment or, the nature in England is always a little weird, EliteAri. Either it's like totally green, weird looking mountains and stuff, like in Barry Lyndon or in like the North in Game of Thrones, hideous. Or it's like this weird, like the grass is like kind of green, but it's like big and it's just, they don't got good places, EliteAri. We live good over here in Australia.
True. It's the old world,
Our grass is good.
Or whatever. What do they say? The US is the new world or something?
Yeah, well, that's supposed to be like the Americas because it's near Europe. We're in like the different world, I guess.
Yeah, we're in the Commonwealth.
We're in Asia, EliteAri. We're in the old world. Anyway, we got deserts and some fucking red desert beaches. And they ain't gonna see that cool shit in fucking dumb England.
That's right.
And then we got the Great Barrier Reef. That's some crazy shit. And then we got rainforests somewhere else. And then we got like beaches and stuff. And then we got like weird salt beaches or something.
And we're those
British beaches where it's like rocks? It's like weird, EliteAri. We don't like that. It snows if you go down south. There's like forest. We just got all the best stuff.
Yep.
Cool animals too. You never heard of a British native animal.
That's right. But one thing we don't have is the history. We have a short history compared to the great.
We don't have the great Sherlock Holmes. It's true.
Yep.
Who's our literary icons, EliteAri? Bluey, the little cartoon dog guy.
Yeah.
Ned Kelly, that's a cool guy.
Yeah, Ned Kelly.
He could beat the fuck out of Sherlock.
The Waltzing Matilda song or whatever. I don't know.
True.
That's it. That's
and then the song about the Waltzing Matilda song. We got those Gallipoli, EliteAri, where we all die. That was pretty epic, huh?
Yep, that's right. There's a movie.
There's a few movies, I believe, EliteAri.
Yes, The Great Game. Easily my favorite of the season.
There was an old lady that died.
Yep. There was the train tracks
thing.
She started describing finding the USB stick of the brother.
True, there was a whole side plot.
Yep. Mycroft is like getting impatient. He's like, I need this solved. There's big missile plans or something. Yep.
True. Missile plans is also a little goofy. I was like, okay, this is a little bit like Nosferatu.
Real.
There was a guy that was on the beach that was dead, and he had a housemate that was like that implied relationship was very interesting, where it didn't seem like they were dating, but they were just living together or something. And he had like a telescope or something. Yeah, there was a fat lady. That was kind of interesting.
Yeah. Was big into astronomy.
Because then he was talking to the professional woman who we get like one scene with before she also dies because Nosferatu kills her, which is really weird, where
Oh,
she's like
yeah.
playing like a Jupiter thingy. That was so weird.
Yeah, that was kind of
This
crazy.
episode's weird, EliteAri.
It is.
This one's a good one.
I like it because it is like it's so many disconnected elements. I think it's kind of cool. Good pacing.
True, and there was a car guy that was not really a car guy, but that was kind of funny.
I don't even know what you're talking about. A car. Oh, the guy. I know what you mean. Yeah. Sherlock looked at his wallet and noticed his tan. Yeah.
True, lots of noticing tans and stuff. I feel like that was a bit of deduction going on.
It's important.
A few times.
We didn't talk about the $9 million hairpin in the last episode. What's going on with that? Is she gonna keep it? Like, is she gonna sell it? And I have no idea.
Well, I think it was in the paper, right? So she's definitely gonna like just sell it, or somebody's gonna come steal it from her.
True.
Or they just killed her and took it to EliteAri.
Yeah.
But that was funny, and it was like the guy was sleeping with her, but she stood up for herself, EliteAri. It was funny.
That's right. All right.
Now, EliteAri, I'm running out of remembrances.
That's okay. We can finish with this. I have a bunch of questions. Well, actually, I don't. I have 2 questions.
Now we got to speculate on why EliteAri loves season 2, episode 1. I've just got the highest.
Well, okay, wait. Let me clarify, because I think I may have set some weird expectations in your head somehow. I think for me in my head,
it's just very different.
Season 2 is much better than season 1. However, my favorite episode of season 2 is not the first episode. However, I do love that first episode. It's not my favorite in season 2 though. So I don't know why. Maybe I've just said, because I think what I've been trying to say is that, you know, if you don't like season 1, you know, you should give season 2 a chance. And I think that makes it sound like the first episode's like the best one ever. But you know what? It's good.
We got to at least do 4 episodes, you said, you know.
That is true, just to get a taste of season 2. But don't get
and he
too
still
excited.
Really does think that. He's just trying to slow me down here, because he knows I'm going to be mad at him when it's not that good.
That is true.
So
Might be fighting more next
still
time.
Loves it.
Yeah, so this brings me to my question of what I've somewhat asked this a little bit, but what is the appeal of this season for you? What do you like the most? Is it the mysteries? Is the characters?
I hate when EliteAri gets on his stupid soapbox and he starts talking about the appeal of things. It's annoying. I don't like it. Who cares? It's a television show, EliteAri.
True.
Because you made me watch it. That's the appeal.
Okay.
It doesn't need to have an appeal.
The only reason I ask is because I'm curious if the show's appeal will change over time or if it'll stay the same. Yeah.
The appeal, EliteAri. Let me answer your question with profound sincerity.
Please. Yeah.
The appeal is you might like Sherlock Holmes / know about Sherlock Holmes, and you'll be like, well, I could watch a mystery show. Mysteries are pretty cool. And this show's got mysteries, EliteAri, so perhaps the mystery is the appeal. I think, obviously, people very much like the little gay boys that are running around, you know, the main characters here, as we've pointed out on the great Tumblr.com. So we got the relationship and the wittiness of Sherlock and what's his name? John Watson, EliteAri, and the Britishness of it all, EliteAri. You gotta like it. It's on BBC, so I'm pretty sure that's free to air television. It's like Channel 9 doing an original series, which they do. But usually Channel 9 just spends their money on reality TV because that makes some motherfucking money. And of course, the great football that I was watching this afternoon. So we don't get to have Sherlock. We got cooler things.
All right.
So that's the appeal.
So then my only other question is, who is your favorite character so far?
The police guy, I think. He was pretty cool.
All right, perfect.
Let me think, EliteAri. Let me think. We've got sexy police girl. She is a girl and she is cool, EliteAri. And she's mean, so we like that one.
Donovan.
Sherlock and Watson, you know, whatever. We hated Moriarty. He sucks. The girlfriend's okay. We're doing a tier list right now, EliteAri. Who am I forgetting? Mrs. Hudson. She's all right. And then,
what about Mycroft?
Mycroft. That's a funny guy.
Yeah.
The fact that you're talking about him all the time means he's getting his own episode coming up, so that's going to be pretty cool.
Okay, if you say so.
Because if he's in 2 minutes of each of these episodes, there's no way EliteAri would remember his name.
So true.
Except his name is very memorable.
Yeah, and he's played by Mark Gatiss.
Gatiss.
Yeah. All right, lovely. So that's Sherlock season 1.
We're at least doing season 2. We'll see from there.
Yeah, it's certainly going to be. I'm so curious
how
what
quickly
you'll think next time.
This shit happens. You know, that'll be up to me, I think. And I don't even know. How am I supposed to know my whims, EliteAri? I got to do a PowerPoint coming up at the end of the month. So I got to finish Crash Bandicoot Mind Over Mutants. It's just called Crash Mind Over Mutants, EliteAri, because I want to get that on the media checklist. And I've only got about an hour and 15 minutes in the guide I'm watching. You know, you got a long play on YouTube. It's about 4 hours long. Where I'm up to is about 3 hours and a half in. So, you know, I don't got too much longer to go.
Yep.
So, you know. Depends what I focus on.
So we will see.
Maybe I should get back to the Romanovs EliteAri instead of shitty Sherlock, since they've also got an hour and a half long fucking episodes in that goddamn television
Inspired by Sherlock, I'm sure. Well, I am looking forward to it. I probably will watch one episode today. We'll see. And then we'll see where that goes. But that's...
EliteAri never watches things on time anymore. Don't believe him.
That is true. But that's it for Sherlock Season 1, everyone. Please leave every single comment in the description, okay? Except for spoiler ones, because Kai will read them even if you say spoilers.
I didn't even make him mad.
True. You'll make me mad next time, I'm sure.
We'll see if we can change that next time.
Yeah, almost certainly.
Not even one pedophile in this show. What the fuck?
Surely there was someone. I don't know. It's like a detective mystery thing. I'm sure maybe not. I don't know. Anyway, see you guys next time.